Welcome to part 5 in our lengthy series of breather shows about how to optimize testosterone naturally. A quick review of where we are to date. Part 1, we covered the importance of sleep, rest, recovery, and downtime. Part 2, we covered the critical importance of ditching toxic processed modern foods. We call them the big 3 categories of refined sugars, grains, and industrial seed oils. In part 3, we covered the emphasizing of natural nutrient-dense foods in the categories of fruit and other plant foods. And then part 4, we covered the animal-based foods in the various categories. And you can find all this stuff on the fantastic Carnivore Scores Food Rankings chart, a free PDF download you can get at bradkearns.com. Now, that brings us to part 5 of how to optimize testosterone naturally. And you have this objective to move more in general everyday life. And this is ranked by many experts above the importance of adhering to a devoted fitness regimen. So movement is so important for general health and hormone status, because when you sit still, the human is not meant to sit still, and we sit still for long periods these days. We have so many sedentary forces in modern life, from our commuting time, our desk jobs, interacting with a screen, and of course, the leisure time that we so deserve at the end of a busy, stressful day, which included a lot of sitting. This is in a direct conflict with our Homo sapiens genetic expectations for health. So the species is designed to move frequently throughout the day. And that we know this from studies with modern day hunter-gatherers who are on the move. The Hadza from Tanzania are heavily studied, and there's a lot of references to their daily behavior patterns where the males are walking an average of 7 miles a day. The females are walking 3 to 4 and spending a lot of time with everyday chores and gathering duties where they're active and physically moving throughout the day. What happens when you engage in prolonged periods of stillness without a break is you experience disruptions to healthy metabolic and cognitive function. I've talked a lot about the research showing that even a sitting or a stillness period of as short as 20 minutes will prompt a noticeable decline in glucose tolerance and an increase in insulin resistance. So you stop being efficient with burning fat for fuel that might manifest in you feeling hungry for a snack, or losing a bit of your cognitive sharpness because you are not burning energy well due to the stillness interrupting important metabolic functions. So it's great to get up and take a break of 30 seconds or a minute every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, take a longer break on the hour, and find ways to be variable in your workplace. We have a whole online course with Katie Bowman that you can find at bradkearns.com called Don't Just Sit There. And it's about creating a dynamic workplace environment. And this goes far beyond the cool, popular practice of getting a stand-up desk. It's all about variation and counterbalancing exercises to counterbalance all that hunching over that we do when we're typing or texting or driving. So I think you'll love that course. But the takeaway is that the more you can move throughout the day, the healthier you're going to be and the better your hormone status will be. So I'm going to give you 4 major ways to increase all forms of general everyday movement, 4 strategies. And the first one, which I've talked about at length and done an entire show on, my fantastic morning exercise routine that I do every single morning. I strongly urge you to find something that you can do as soon as you wake up so it can help with habit forming. And before you get distracted or pulled away, especially when you reach for your mobile device and get distracted, get up, get out of bed, and immediately get the body moving. There's no better way to get naturally refreshed and energized, which is what we all want to do in the morning. A lot of times we're reaching for a central nervous system stimulant, but if you can just get a little bit of movement going, and that might mean leashing up the dog and walking around the block as your first act upon awakening. It's really great to get outside into sunlight and expose your eyeballs directly to sunlight. I'm not talking about looking at the sun, and I'm not talking about needing it to be bright. You just get direct light exposure, and this goes right to your suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is the part of your eye that goes through the retina to the suprachiasmatic nucleus in your brain, which is your clock. It's your circadian clock. So we need that light exposure soon upon awakening to help us align with our circadian rhythm and set ourselves up for a good night's sleep many hours later. So direct light exposure in the morning is absolutely imperative to your overall hormonal and general health status, energy, cognitive function. So moving first thing in the morning. Look at the complete online course we have, Designing the Ultimate Morning Routine. Comes with a wonderful PDF, gives you all kinds of ideas for how you can custom design a morning routine that feels right and is sustainable and enjoyable for you. I talk about how mine has grown to be this major thing that takes quite a long time and is quite strenuous because I've been doing it every day for so many years. Now it's up to 40 minutes minimum that I spend doing my morning routine, and it's been integrated into habit, so it's no big deal for me. But if you want to start with 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something small and doable and sustainable, oh my gosh, it can be life-changing. But of course, it's in this category because if you start your day with movement, you are setting yourself up for a lifestyle of more frequent and general movement because you're setting the tone for the day by starting it with movement. Next, you can do the wonderful micro workouts, which I contend are the greatest fitness breakthrough in the fitness industry for decades, to take fitness out of the complexity and out of the branded programming where you think I'm either inactive because my gym closed during quarantine, or you're totally all in and you're in this complex thing where you're going to schedules on the hour or signing up for important competitive events and training in a group. All that stuff is great, but you can simplify fitness into doing brief bursts of explosive effort throughout your busy day that perhaps only take 30 seconds or a minute, but over the long run, they make a fantastic contribution to your overall fitness status. They elevate the platform from which you launch all formal workout sessions. And of course, maybe best of all, they contribute to your daily movement quota. So I'm talking about setting a timer on your computer, standing up in your cubicle or whatever space you have to operate in, and you can drop for a set of 20 deep squats, even if the only space you have is a little cubicle. If there's a staircase anywhere near you in your home or building, you can rush 2 or 3 flights of stairs. You go down to the bottom, rush up to the top at whatever pace is comfortable. I have a rule in my house that anytime I ascend a staircase, I sprint up the staircase, even if it's late at night near bedtime. And maybe I'm doing that 10 times a day. It's no big deal. It doesn't count as a formal workout. It's not going to interfere with tomorrow's workout, but it's in the mix as a type, an example of a micro workout. Next, in the objective to move more in general everyday life is, of course, the formal structured cardiovascular exercise session. And that would be performing a steady state effort at the appropriate heart rate. So we want to remain predominantly aerobic when we're talking about this objective, in distinction from doing high intensity stuff, which we're going to talk about at the next show. So this is 180 minus your age in beats per minute. For example, 50-year-old, 180 minus 50 equals 130. And that is the maximum aerobic heart rate. That is the point at which you are burning maximum number of fat calories per minute with a minimal amount of anaerobic stimulation. So the effort is very, very comfortable. It's not strenuous. Aerobic exercise is not meant to be strenuous. This is when you're in the fat burning zone. It's energizing, it's not fatiguing, and that counts as an appropriately structured cardiovascular session. When you start to exceed your maximum aerobic heart rate, you start burning more glucose, the workout becomes more stressful, and these are workouts that are calibrated towards certain peak performance goals for serious athletes. But for most of us, getting more time in at aerobic exercise activity, and the best way to do that, Mark Sisson calls it JFW, just frickin' walk. And today, since we have our cars and our public transportation and so many ways to avoid walking, we actually have to manufacture opportunities to walk more in general everyday life. So that's exactly what I want you to do, is make a purposeful effort to walk more, whether it's parking a mile away from your kid's elementary school and walking it in, like Kelly and Juliet Starrett have been known to do and promote. But there's all kinds of ways that we can get up off our butts after dinner, and instead of engaging in an evening of leisure entertainment, first take the dog for a lap around the block and then enjoy your downtime. So manufacturing opportunities to walk more. And if you put those all together, the morning exercise routine, the micro workouts any time of day, even for a very short time, and the structured cardiovascular workout sessions at 180 minus your age in beats per minute heart rate. And then finally, the centerpiece of the whole thing is engaging in the ultimate form of human locomotion, that is walking, and bringing walking back to center stage. And that's why I want you to listen to the exciting podcast I did with my main man, Mark Sisson, where he's so pleased to bring you his dream of another new company called Paluva, which is a minimalist footwear company where you get the authentic 5-toe barefoot shoe experience, the best way to walk. And so you can grab a pair of these shoes. I have a special discount for you if you email us, and you can go try to get your feet back in the game, out of those constrictive footwear, and engaging in this wonderful health beneficial practice of walking more in general everyday life. So boom, that is part 5 in the series. Find ways to move more for optimal testosterone and overall general health. Thanks for watching, listening, and get ready for number 6. We're going. We keep going down the list.